Hey there, welcome. This is Pillow Talk with Tanya, a show where each week I'll be inviting you into my bed to have a little chat about love and relationships. This week I'm talking about being single, learning to love being alone. It's ironic that whenever I'm single, I miss being in a relationship because often when I'm in a relationship, I miss being single. Some might say I'm just never satisfied, but I don't think it's that. I think it's that there are obvious pros and cons to both. And sometimes it's just easier to focus on what we're missing rather than what we have. But I'd really like to stay present at this time in my life and enjoy this single time. I really want to be grateful for the pros of being single and not focus so much on the downsides. So that when I am one day in a relationship, as I imagine one day I will be, maybe then I can focus on the pros of being in the relationship and not feel like I missed out on being single, not feel like I missed out on this time. If I can appreciate this time now, maybe I can appreciate that time. It's an idea, but it's a little bit tricky. I mean, there's obviously a lot of pros to being single. It's great. You're independent, you have your freedom, you're basically autonomous. You make all your own decisions, you do what you want, when you want, how you want, where you want. You don't have to listen to anyone's opinions about it, or you don't have to compromise or accommodate. Um, you don't have to listen to someone's story that they've told you about 14 times. You don't have to listen to the same gripes for the 100th time. You don't have to listen to the bad day that they had at work. You don't have to hear about the complaint about that coworker that they've complained about 150 times. It's pretty peaceful. It's actually pretty great in that sense. The only downside is that you don't really have anyone to tell your gripes and concerns and worries to. But hopefully friends can fill in the gap there. I have the most fantastic circle of friends one could ever ask for. I wouldn't be alive today without them. They really keep me going. So thank you to all my friends, and I lean on them a lot for that. So that's nice, but obviously they're not always there, right? So sometimes you do just have to tell yourself and be okay with that. Um, but yeah, so the trade off is you don't have to listen to it, but then you don't really have someone to tell. And I suppose it's the same with that lonely feeling, right? Is that, when you are feeling lonely, you can't find anyone to do what you want to go do with. You have to, find someone that might be available in the future. You have to plan farther out and be more strategic, especially if you're in your 40s like me and people have families and partners and they're busy and they can't just drop everything at a hat. They can't just be spontaneous. So you really have to be more strategic and plan further out if you want to do stuff together. And that can be a little bit, disheartening, especially if you just are, sitting at home alone on the couch and wanting to do something and there's no one to do anything with. That can be depressing. But on the flip side, you don't have, five people asking you what's for dinner. I think a lot of my married friends with kids would be super jealous of my position. So I want to do them justice and actually appreciate what I have, the peace and quiet, the ability to control what I do whenever I do it. Often when you're in a relationship or if you have kids, you have to accommodate everyone and really listen. You don't just get to decide for yourself what you're going to do. So I think they would be pretty jealous of my position, and I should appreciate it. So that's what I'm aiming to do, is really stay present and be grateful for this time in my life. I actually heard something really great the other day. They said, if you knew for certain that your dream relationship was just around the corner, what would you do with this time? And I loved that because honestly, most of the time when we're single, we're pretty worried that we're never going to find anyone ever again. We're just going to be alone forever. And we spend a lot of time focused on that. And we miss out on enjoying the single life. But what if you knew that your dream partnership was just around the corner? How would you use this time then? And that's what I really want to try and do, is use this time to its fullest advantage, enjoy it, appreciate the good sides of it, not focus so much on the downsides, so that one day when I am in that brilliant relationship, which I'm sure I one day will be, I won't feel like I miss anything. And I'll truly appreciate being in the relationship. Maybe I can bid a fond farewell to my single life and say, that was great. I enjoyed it. I used it up. And now I can enjoy this. I'm hoping that I can do that. And I think it just takes, being grateful, appreciating what you have, thinking about the pros. I've tried making lists. I've tried just reminding myself. But I would love your advice. If you're single and thriving, loving being alone, please let me know. What do you do when you're alone at home on a Sunday night and you're feeling a little bit lonely, a little bit blue? Maybe you haven't seen anyone in a couple days. If you're like me, you work from home, so maybe you haven't seen anyone in a couple days. You're starting to feel a little bit cuckoo. What do you do? How do you get through that? I've done various different things. I take myself out to dinner sometimes. I go for long walks. I try to join classes. I did pottery class. I like to go swimming. And those are all great, but then you're also doing them all alone. So that does get a little bit tiresome. I've also tried meeting people at various different events. I'm actually going to go to one next week, a time left dinner, where you go to dinner with 5 strangers. I'm super interested to see how that goes. Hopefully it's good. But sometimes hanging out with strangers isn't the easiest thing to do. It's definitely nicer to be around people that you've known a really long time, people that get you, people that are your tribe. It's definitely easier to be around those people. So I often, want to hang out with people, but I'm like, do I want to hang out with strangers though? Because it's not quite the same as hanging out with friends or loved ones, right? So it can be tricky to force yourself to keep hanging out with strangers. Sometimes I go through, big surges where I try and do it a lot, and then I get a little bit tired of it and I gotta back off. But it's been a while since I've done the stranger thing, so I'm gonna go to this dinner and see how that goes. Wish me luck. But yeah, if you have any advice on how to really appreciate the single life and just get really into it so that I can get the most out of it, please hit me up. I want to know. I want to know what you got going on over there that's working for you. Yeah, I'll keep you posted on how it's going over here. Thanks for watching. And please keep voting in my weekly Pillow Bowls. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I look forward to seeing you back in my bed next week.